All right, let's have a very quick kort word. Thank you, brothers in arms. All right, Pesach Chag Sameach. All right, so we're celebrating Pesach, and of course on Pesach we celebrate freedom. But now freedom has many different forms, right? Freedom can come in the form of physical freedom from slavery, like we read about, but it also carries with it emotional freedom. There's also mental freedom. There's also spiritual freedom that we look for in life. Now Pesach teaches us a lesson in all these different types of freedom. Last night at our Seders, we all said a very interesting verse. We said the following. We said, today we are slaves, next year may we be free. How many of you consider yourselves slaves today? It's a pretty easy slavery if you are slaves. Okay, so in the sense of the slavery that we talk about with Pesach, none of us are in that sense of slavery today, right? But we must still be very careful, because look at what happened to the Israelites shortly after they were freed from slavery. What happens? They complain about their freedom. Moses this, Moses that. There's no water. The water tastes bad. Moses, the food is horrible. This manna is horrible. I miss the stuff that we used to get in Egypt, the fish and the cucumbers. Even in their freedom, they still found problems and complained. Very much like me this morning at my Pesach breakfast table. I was complaining to Becca. I even went and bought Pesach cereal, coach of a Pesach cereal, and I was excited. And I poured it in, and I had it, and it tasted horrible. And I started complaining and saying, what is up with this food? And you look at the options of what you can actually eat over the next 7 days, and we're probably going to be complaining for the next 7 days as well, because our options are very limited. Or as Judah would say, bare necessities. It's all we got now. He's been addicted to that song this whole week. Maybe he was prophesying what's coming this week. All we can eat this week are the bare necessities, right? But the thing about redemption is that whenever redemption got a little bit challenging for the Israelites, just a little bit uncomfortable, they started complaining again. And what did they say? They said, we want to return to Egypt, to the good old days where things were fine. Were the good old days really that good? No, in Egypt we cried out to Hashem. It was slavery, it was horrible, it was terrible. We were crying, we were sweating, we were bleeding. We couldn't leave the country. Our children were being killed. We had forced labor that became even worse when we started complaining. We tricked ourselves into thinking that the old normal was actually better than the freedom we have at that stage when we were free. Our mentality was still a slavery to the past. Now, 1 year ago, think about 1 year ago where you guys were. It was hard lockdown level 5. We were sitting at home. Our Seders were just us who live in that one household. We had to Zoom Seder with the rest of our families. We couldn't buy alcohol because alcohol was also on lockdown. So many of us had to have grape juice for our Seders. Must be the first Seder you can ever remember in history. We couldn't have any guests at our Seder tables. We didn't even have a service here at Shul last year. You had to do your service by yourself last year. Today, we sit here also longing for the normal that we had once upon a time. We're falling into the exact same trap as the Israelites who came out of Egypt. We shouldn't be asking for that same normal we had before. Instead, we should do as Paul tells us. We should renew our minds. It's a new Pesach, a new year, new opportunities. As Paul tells us, get rid of the old leaven. Every Pesach, we need to get rid of the old normal that we are used to, because there are new blessings right in front of us and we need to see it. During this last year, during this lockdown, how many children have been born in our community? The Smiths had a baby. Alfred had a baby. Godfred had a baby. My mom survived COVID-19. According to statistics, she should be dead right now. There's a miracle in front of us. We should see the blessings that are in front of us. We are not creative enough. That's the problem. But what we should do is, well, of course, there are things from the old normal that we want to get back to normal. We want our grandparents to see grandchildren again. We want to have meals with each other, have a brocha here at Shul. But we must never ignore the freedoms and the liberations that are presented to us right now, even in this lockdown. Because sometimes adversity and difficulty is only a vessel carrying greater blessing. What's that saying about the storm, the silent before the storm? It's in the middle of the storm is the quietest. Sometimes things have to go a little bit wrong in order for greatness to appear. Just imagine you were there amongst the 12 disciples, that very Pesach that Yeshua got crucified. You were so excited. Here's the Messiah. Pesach is here. The redemption is here. And what happens? He dies. This one that you've been proclaiming to be the Messiah. Imagine how depressed and emo they were on that Pesach day. Today, 2,000 years ago. But what happened? Instead of being sad about it and moaning about it, they had to understand what Yeshua told them in the parable about the death of the seed. That the seed has to die first and then be planted before new life can emerge. So I'll say again, sometimes adversity is only the vessel that carries greater blessing. So to be truly free is to see blessings in every single moment and to truly let go of and forget about the past. Because we often view the past in a much better light than it deserves. We think the good old days, the times were better. Nonsense. That time had its own struggle and its own difficulties. Just like those Israelites, we look back at slavery and think that was better than freedom because we are so bogged down by our own ideas. What does the Pirkei Avot teach us? We're going to start studying the Pirkei Avot pretty shortly. It asks the question, who is rich? The one who is happy with his lot, the one he has right now. Not looking back at what he had, not looking to the future, but the one who is happy with his lot right now. That is the one who is truly rich and truly happy about their life. Even if you don't have a lot, those are the richest people in the world, the ones who are happy with that lot. So let's spend the next 7 days of Pesach not reminiscing falsely about the good old days when things were better. Rather, let's literally spend these 7 days literally counting our blessings during this time. And I can guarantee you that that will be a truly liberating experience.
Amen.
Chag Sameach. You count the Omer. You count for 50 days.